Thanks, Devin. We're joined now by our local geologist expert, Levi Rohde. Thanks for joining us this morning, Levi.
Thanks for having me.
Now, tell us a little bit about your geology and rock background.
I just basically went to school for it. And now I work as a geologist for a little consulting firm here in Rhinelander.
Well, fantastic.
And, yeah, rocks are pretty fun and cool.
You could say they rock.
You could say they rock.
Oh, goodness. All right, so this morning you're giving us a little bit of rock knowledge, a little rock quiz game, per se. And you brought in some samples of what we're going to be quizzed on today, and that's kind of the fun thing. You brought this in a cooler, so I didn't realize that rocks had to be chilled before they were transported.
Oh, yeah, you got to keep them cold, otherwise you never know what'll happen to them.
Well, fantastic. Well, we'll roll right into this because, you know, it's very important to, know our rocks when we're out hiking around, walking around. I always wondered, what is that kind of looking about when I'm out there? So let's go to our first quiz question, and let's see. So what type of rock is that? Now, which one of that is on this table, Levi?
That looks like this one.
Okay. So this giant hunk of rock, Jackie. Now, which answer do you think this is? Our three options were, what is it? Flint, limestone, or galena? Oh boy.
It looks like it could be a galena. Because
You're feeling galena?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it looks like it could because it's sparkly. I think of like gala, sparkly. I'm gonna say. Oof. I don't know. I'll say flint.
I will go with limestone. Let's see what this. What was this? This was flint. It was flint. My goodness, that is not what I imagined this would be.
So actually, we got a little bit messed up here. This one's the flint.
Oh.
So that's the flint. Oh my
Man.
I
goodness.
think the photo was a little bit off there.
All these rocks are so difficult to identify. All right. So, yeah. So what's the difference between flint and limestone?
So the difference is actually pretty cool. So when critters die off in the ocean and sink to the bottom,
Okay.
if they're made out of shells made out of calcium carbonate, like planktons or clams or something like that, and if they sink down to the bottom, they'll deposit and they'll form the limestone. But actually, if they die off in the deeper ocean and they sink even further and further, the calcium carbonate will dissolve off in the ocean water, and just the silicon will dissolve at the bottom, and then that makes the flint. So that's the difference between the two.
So they're almost in the same location, but then one of them just goes a lot further.
It has to sink pretty deep for the calcium carbonate to dissolve out of there.
That's crazy. Well, all right, let's go to the next rock question we've got here. And let's see what that's going to look like. Okay, so that one, does that not look exactly like the last one? I think that's the wrong question we got here. Let's move it on to the next. That's right. All right. Well, let's go on to the next rock sample, because I think we all know now that that's flint. So that's the one that goes very deeply into the ocean. We have this shiny one, it looks like, which is over here.
My favorite one.
So it's either galena, limestone, or banded iron. Banded iron, I think, is what the way that would be. So I'm going to guess that this is probably galena.
I'm going to guess that one too, because I once again think gala sparkly.
Galena? Is that right?
I think you both got it there.
There we go. Sparkly, and it's galena. Well, let's move right on to our next rock sample.
That one's my favorite though.
Galena's looking pretty so far. All right. Oh, goodness gracious. So is that banded or branded iron we're looking at?
That is banded.
Banded iron. Banded iron. No R in that, but that's definitely right here. Look at all these fancy layers we got.
Right?
So it's this is banded iron then, I'm guessing.
Right.
I'm gonna get
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got bands.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, that was
It
my
has
guess,
to be
though.
banded iron.
Yep, that is the banded iron formation. It's layers of hematite and jasper. And it kind of, when I was talking about how the flint formed earlier, the banded iron formation forms a lot in the same way, but it was forming during the time that Earth was oxygenating. So the layer of the hematite is a year's worth of critters in the ocean feeding off of oxygen and then dying off and sinking to the bottom.
Goodness gracious. We just had a story earlier about some new species found in Australia's oceans, in the Indian Ocean.
Cool.
And perhaps that could make a banded iron one day themselves.
Could be.
And what's this last one, just for the the fun at home. It's very shiny. It's giant. It's black. And what could this possibly be?
That is obsidian.
Obsidian.
Known as volcanic glass.
Oh, goodness.
Wow, that one's my second favorite, but the Galena's my favorite.
I thought always these volcanic rocks were supposed to be really light. That's rather heavy.
You're thinking of the pumice, yeah. And so there's a lot, the silicon content and the temperature at which it cools and all sorts of things can go into what sorts of igneous rocks forms.
Fantastic. Which ones of these would we find in the Northwoods?
So this banded iron formation is actually kind of unique to this area. And, it's actually economically important. About 60% of the world's iron comes from these formations.
Oh, goodness.
And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool one to have in the Great Lakes region.
Well,
heavy one.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Levi. We appreciate all this rock knowledge. I feel a little bit more educated now.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yes, thank you. And then coming up, we have What's Trending, including